The Brothers Karamazov, Book 7, Chapter 1. This is a fairly short, easily understandable, and straightforward chapter. Not a lot is hard to understand. Zosima dies. The first page of the chapter gives us the assurance that whatever happens to Zosima's corpse, we can't blame it on a lack of attending to ritual. No, they attended to everything that they were supposed to attend to. The scripture, the gospel was read over his body was prepared the right way. Whatever is going to happen to his corpse, you can't blame on the other monks. The other monks handled the body of Zosima properly. Then it says that not only the laity, not only the ignorant sheep outside of the monastery, but even the respected elders, even the educated inside the monastery shared, both the educated and uneducated, the full-time religious people and the peasants outside. Both shared the same superstitious expectation and almost seemed happy that Zosima has died, because they are both types of people are expecting a miracle to occur. So to use the cliche, out of the woodwork come people expecting Zosima's corpse to produce a miracle in their life. Aliosha cries. Father Pisces notices Aliosha crying, and he can't continue to console Aliosha because he himself will cry looking at Aliosha and his own tears. Plot twist. Zosima begins to stink already. Not even 24 hours after death, the odor of decomposition, the odor of corruption begins to stink. Now, if you look at things from a rational point of view, this isn't surprising. Zosima has died in early August when it is hot, and if you want a purely scientific explanation for the rotting corpse of Zosima with fewer than 24 hours after his death, there it is. It's not troubling from a scientific perspective. But from a religious perspective, it is, because at the very least, from a religious perspective, Zosima should just decompose at a natural rate. The thing that can't happen is that Zosima not only would not stink, but that he would decompose faster than a normal a Christian saint or just a normal person. So we not only have not a miracle, we have the exact opposite. We have a complete subversion, whatever the opposite of a Christian miracle is, a supernatural bad, a completely unexpected twist. Zosima not only does not have a miraculous body, he has a quickly decomposing body. And it takes a few paragraphs for anyone to say it out loud. Everyone thinks it, but no one has the nerve, the gall to say it. And then finally, one lay person says it. And as soon as one layperson says it, then we're free for creepy, weirdo old Father Ferapont to walk in and call everything the devil and rebuke the devil. And now it's open season on Zosima, and everyone feels free to call him a fraud, a hypocrite. And we said in the closing of the last chapter that Zosima's teachings on hell were outside the bounds of orthodoxy, and so of course that is brought up and thrown in his face. He didn't really believe in hell. Then another person chimes in that someone had confessed to him that he was being tormented by evil spirits, and for being tormented by evil spirits, Father Zosima had prescribed him medication. And so therefore, if anyone in a religious community prescribes medication for a disease, then rather than believing everything is the devil, obviously Zosima therefore couldn't have been a real believer in devils. So all of this slander is thrown to Zosima's image almost immediately. Father Pisces is offended. He's one of the few that can stand up publicly and say, wait a second, the majority of you were on his side in his lifetime. How can your faith be this weak? How can your faith be this shaken just by this event? In other words, faith looks at the event of the decomposition of Zosima and is completely shook if faith is based on miracle and supernatural occurrence. And so our chapter ends on a very worrisome note for our hearer Aliosha, because Father Pisces puts to words the question that we want to ask Aliosha as readers. You too? You're among those shaken? So these skeptical monks who are now trashing Zosima's name, you're really siding with them. Not that you are delighting in his death. Of course, you're crying over his death, but their delight in your tears are for the same reason. You believe the same thing that they do, don't you? Father Paisi asked Aliosha, and Aliosha has a wry smile and a non-answer, indicating that his faith is truly shook by the decomposition and the stink that is Zosima's corpse. Let's remember 2 books ago, Ivan's story of the Grand Inquisitor. Let's remember Holy Scripture itself. What was the nature particularly of the second temptation of Christ? The second temptation of Christ is Satan leads him to a high place and says, "Cast yourself down. And it is written that he will send his angels to protect you." And so the second temptation of Christ in theme, in heart, is really this, that if God really loves you, he will protect you from the normal human maladies. So why are you out here fasting for 40 days and 40 nights? Have this bread. That's at least the normal baseline human provision, is when you're hungry, bread. And Satan takes it further on the second temptation and says, if God is really on your side, then he'll protect you if you throw yourself off a high place. And so really what is happening here, the philosophical argument that Ivan put to words is taking place here in Aliosha's heart. And so the conflict between reason and faith chiefly needs to be worked out in Aliosha's own heart. And so how will Aliosha interpret the decay? Through faith, it is surely a sign that God has abandoned Zosima. And if God has abandoned Zosima, then Aliosha knows he has no shot to ever out godly, out spiritual Zosima. So his faith must indeed be shaken as well. And so that is Book 7, Chapter 1.